ResMed AirSense 10, Transcend 3, Transcend Micro. We're going to do a review on the Transcend Micro and the Transcend T3 right now. Let's get in. While reviewing these two, I noticed that there are several things that they are exactly alike with. That is, they are both Faa compliant, they're both great for travel, great for camping, and each of them may require you to have an HME because neither have a heated humidifier. And the ways that they are different is this one is about half a pound, this one is about 1 pound. The Transcend 3 here actually can use any Cpap tubing, but with the Micro, there's a special Cpap tube that you need to use. So let's get into a little more detail. I'm actually going to try them out and let you hear them run. That is the Transcend Micro Cpap. And just for reference, look, there's a ResMed AirSense 10, just so you can see really the difference in size. This is literally the smallest and lightest Cpap machine in the world today. And just taking a look, this is some of the items that you get. You get the Whisper Soft unit, I'll explain that, power cord, the book, the box, and a little bag to carry it in. It's all Faa approved. You get special tubes that you do have to have. And not only are we going to talk about the specs and some details about the Micro, but we're also going to, I'm going to use it. I'm going to let you see what it sounds like and literally use it for a minute. And so here we go. First thing I want to do is really just let you see the unit itself. As you can see, it's literally probably the size of a softball. And it's very simple. It's not complicated at all. There's an on-off button. There's a Bluetooth capability. There is the ramp button right here. And then this is a dry cycle. And the dry cycle is really just there so that after you wake up in the morning, you hit that dry cycle, and it will just dry out your mask and your hose and all of those other parts in the Cpap. It's not really going to dry out the Cpap machine because it never gets wet. There's no water with this system. You can get an HME, which is a heat moisture exchanger, and put that in line. And what a HME does, since you don't have a heated humidifier, you would put the HME in line, and so every time you exhale, the moisture from your exhaled breath is captured in the HME, so that the next time you inhale, it actually draws some of that moisture back in. It just reduces the amount of dryness when you're using a travel Cpap. But like I said, this is Faa approved. It's very lightweight. It's half a pound, and it's super small. So now let's talk about this little piece here. It is optional. It is called the Whisper Soft, and you actually would connect it in line with your Cpap, so that what it's designed to do, it's a muffler. It's called the Whisper Soft muffler. And if you've ever noticed, sometimes using a Cpap, especially a travel Cpap, there's a good bit of tube noise that's happening. Your breath, as you're breathing in and breathing out, you can hear these noises. Well, the muffler reduces that and diminishes that sound for those of you who are super sensitive to noise while you're sleeping. So again, it is optional. It's called the Whisper Soft muffler. This is the power supply, and I've just got it all wrapped up, but sometimes with travel Cpaps, they have these humongous boxes and giant cords. This one is pretty reasonable. I mean, it's just your typical thing. It's roughly, I measured it just by standing up, and it's roughly probably around 8 feet in total. So that should be sufficient, I would think, to get you taken care of while you're using your Cpap machine. So the Whisper Soft muffler, you just connect it like so, either end, it doesn't matter. And you notice you have a special connection here. That's going to actually go to the Cpap machine. And you will see there's a little arrow sort of engraved on the top here. And then on the front of the machine, you also can see some little arrows. I hope you can see that. And what you want to do is, really there's only one way it goes. It sort of fits only in one spot. You notice it just kind of falls in place just in one spot as I'm spinning this. And then once it's in, you give it a good little turn, and it sort of locks in. You see that? It sort of locks in when you give it that spin. So that's important to lock that in. You don't want leaks, obviously, there. All right, so you have options. You can use this whisper soft muffler or not. In this case, this is the way you would set this up, and you have two different hoses that come with the micro. This one, both ends are the same. So if you're using the whisper soft muffler, you're going to use the hose that both ends are the same. One end will now go to the muffler, and the other end will go right to your Cpap mask. So now I'm going to connect the power supply just right underneath the bottom of the machine. You'll see there are two ports. One is to connect the power supply. The other port is, you also will get this cable here, so you can actually connect the machine to your laptop computer, and there's some really cool software you can use to download data, reports, daily data, compliance, etc. All right, so I'm just going to plug the power supply in here. Once she's plugged in, lights up for us. All right, so I'm just going to try this with a nasal mask. I have set the machine, it is an APAP machine, so it can take two settings, a high and a low. However, just for this demo, I set it at a random single pressure Cpap at 12, just to give you an idea of what it sounds like. All right, well, you got to hear what that sounded like. You could hear the breathing. All right, and again, that was with the muffler in place. So now I'm going to spin this, remove that hose, and also I'm going to go ahead and remove, actually I'm going to use the other hose. There's a separate hose that you get when you're not wanting to use the muffler, the whisper soft muffler, and the hose that you would use if you're not using the whisper soft muffler looks like this. It's different on each end. So obviously one end will go to the micro, the other end will connect directly onto your mask. And by the way, with this one, you can use any mask that you want. So just make sure you put that in, line the arrows up, and then spin it in and lock it in place. Now the other end of this is going to connect right onto the bottom of the mask. And let's put the mask on. All right, so some of what you were hearing then was actually the traffic going by. I hope you were able to differentiate between the traffic and the machine. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and disconnect the hose from here, and let's see what it sounds like, just the machine by itself with no hose on it. And I think you might be able to get a good idea. I'm going to cover this up with my finger and turn the machine on. Can you hear that? So here's my review and my opinion. It definitely makes more noise than a ResMed AirSense 10. It is not an amount of noise that would keep me from sleeping. I would have absolutely no problem with it whatsoever. You can hear a change in the noise as you're breathing in and as you're breathing out. So for some people that might bother them, but overall, considering the size of this, I mean, it's literally smaller than a softball. I think it's a wonderful piece of equipment, and I would say I would give it a 9 out of 10 in terms of noise for a travel Cpap in comparison to many of the other travel Cpaps that are out there. And again, it is FAA approved. There's a really cool smartphone app that you can use and with this machine, or you can connect it to your laptop and get some really great data from the machine. So I really do love the Transcend Micro CPAP.